am the new generation of scary stories. It's time to retire the boring, emotionless voiceovers. With my voice and melody, you will experience the full spectrum of emotions. Subscribe if you like my videos, and also send me your scary stories to my email. And please indicate how you would like me to introduce you in the video. Good luck. The Blue Hole is a 100-meter deep sinkhole on the coast of the Red Sea, 5 miles north of Dahab, Egypt. Its nickname is the Divers' Cemetery. Divers in Dahab say 200 died in recent years. Many of those who died were attempting to swim under the arch. Many certified scuba divers think they are capable of just going a little deeper, but they don't know that there are special gas mixtures, buoyancy equipment, and training required for just another few meters of depth. Imagine this. You take your PADI, open water diving course, and you learn your dive charts, buy all your own gear, and become familiar with it. Compared to the average person on the street, you're an expert now. You go diving on coral reefs, a few shipwrecks, and even catch lobster in New England. You go to visit a deep spot like this, and you're having a great time. You see something just in front of you, this beautiful cave with sunlight streaming through, and you decide to swim just a little closer. You're not going to go inside it. You know better than that, but you just want a closer look. If your dive computer starts beeping, you'll head back up. So you swim a little closer, and it's breathtaking. You're enjoying the view and just floating there, taking it all in. You hear a clanging sound. It's your dive master rapping the butt of his knife on his tank to get someone's attention. You look up to see what he wants, but after staring into the darkness for the last minute, the sunlight streaming down is blinding. You turn away and reach to check your dive computer, but it's a little awkward for some reason, and you twist your shoulder and pull it towards you. It's beeping, and the screen is flashing GOUP. You stare at it for a few seconds, trying to make out the depth and tank level between the flashing words. The numbers won't stay still. It's really annoying, and your brain isn't getting the info you want at a glance. So you let it fall back to your left shoulder, turn towards the light, and head up. The problem is that the blue hole is bigger than anything you've ever dove before, and the crystal clear water provides a visibility that is 10 times what you're used to in the dark waters of St. Lawrence, where you usually dive. What you don't realize is that when you swam down a little farther to get a closer look, thinking it was just 30 or 40 feet more, you actually swam almost twice that, because the vast scale of things messed up your sense of distance. And while you were looking at the archway, you didn't have any nearby reference point in your vision. More depth equals more pressure, and your BCD, the air-filled jacket that you use to control your buoyancy, was compressed a little. You were slowly sinking and had no idea. That's when the dive master began banging his tank, and you looked up. This only served to blind you for a moment and distract your sense of motion and position even more. Your dive computer wasn't sticking out on your chest, below your shoulder, when you reached for it, because your BCD was shrinking. You turned your body sideways while twisting and reaching for it. The 10 seconds spent fumbling for it and staring at the screen brought you deeper, and you began to accelerate, with your jacket continuing to shrink. The reason that you didn't hear the beeping at first, and that it took so long to make out the depth between the flashing words, was the nitrogen narcosis. You have been getting depth drunk, and the numbers wouldn't stay still because you are still sinking. You swim towards the light, but the current is pulling you sideways. Your brain is hurting, straining for no reason, and the blue hole seems like it's gotten narrower, and the light rays above you are going at a funny angle. You kick harder just to keep going up toward the light, despite this current that wants to push you into the wall. Your computer is beeping incessantly, and it feels like you're swimming through mud. You grab the fill button on your jacket and squeeze it. You're not supposed to use your jacket to ascend, as you know that it will expand as the pressure drops, and you will need to carefully bleed off air to avoid shooting up to the surface. But you don't care about that anymore. Shooting up to the surface is exactly what you want right now, and you'll deal with bleeding air off and making depth stops when you're back up with the rest of your group. The sound of air rushing into your beat CD fills your ears, but nothing's happening. Something doesn't sound right, like the air isn't filling fast enough. You look down at your jacket, searching for whatever the trouble might be, when fwunk, you bump right into the side of the giant sinkhole. What the hell? Why is the current pulling me sideways? Why is there even a current in an empty hole in the middle of the ocean? You keep holding the button. Inflate. Your computer is now making a frantic screeching sound that you've never heard before. You notice that you've been breathing heavily. It's a sign of stress, and the sound of air rushing into your jacket is getting weaker. Every 10 meters of water adds another 1 atmosphere of pressure. Your tank has enough air for you to spend an hour at 10 meters and to refill your BCD more than 100 times. Each additional 20 meters of depth cuts this time in half. This assumes that you are calm, controlling your breathing, and using your muscles slowly with intention. If you panic, begin breathing quickly and move rapidly. This cuts your time in half again. You're certified to 20 meters, and you've gone briefly down to 30 meters on some shipwrecks before, so you were comfortable swimming to 25 meters to look at the arch. While you were looking at it, you sank to 40 meters, and while you messed around, looking for your dive master, and then the computer, you sank to 60 meters, 6 atmospheres of pressure. You have only 10 minutes of air at this depth. When you swam for the surface, you had become disoriented from twisting around and then looking at your gear, and you were now right in front of the archway. You swam into the archway thinking it was the surface. That's why the blue hole looked smaller now. There is no current pulling you sideways. You're continuing to sink to the bottom of the arch. When you hit the bottom and started to inflate your BCD, you were now over 90 meters. You will go through a full tank of air in only a couple of minutes at this depth. Panicking like this, you're down to seconds. There's enough air to inflate your BCD, but it will take over a minute to fill, and it doesn't matter, because that would only pull you to the top of the arch, and you will drown before you get there. Holding the inflate button, you kick as hard as you can for the light. Your muscles are screaming, your brain is screaming, and it's getting harder and harder to suck each panicked breath out of your regulator. In a final fit of rage and frustration, you scream into your useless reg, darkness squeezing into the corners of your vision. 4 minutes. That's how long your dive lasted. You died in clear water on a sunny day in only 4 minutes. The old house at the edge of town had been empty for years, its windows boarded up, and its doors chained shut. But every night, a single light would flicker on in the attic, dim and ghostly, casting strange shadows that danced across the walls. No one knew who or what turned on that light, but they all knew the stories. The house had once belonged to the Wilkins family, a quiet couple with a small daughter. One night, the entire family vanished without a trace, leaving behind a dinner table set for three and a single doll lying on the floor. The townspeople searched for weeks, but there was no sign of the Wilkinses. The house was sealed off, and it became a place of whispered legends and fearful glances. Years passed, and the house fell into disrepair. No one dared go near it, especially at night when the light in the attic would flicker on, steady as a heartbeat. One night, on a dare, a group of teenagers decided to break into the house. They laughed as they pried off the boards and cut through the chains, pushing open the creaking door. The air inside was cold and stale, filled with the scent of dust and decay. They wandered through the house, their flashlights revealing furniture covered in sheets, cobwebs hanging from the ceiling, and the wallpaper peeling away like dead skin. But as they climbed the stairs to the attic, the air grew colder, the light above them growing brighter with each step. When they reached the attic door, they hesitated. The light was no longer flickering, but shone with an unnatural intensity, as if something on the other side was waiting for them. One of the boys, trying to prove his bravery, pushed the door open. The attic was empty, except for a single chair facing the window. On the chair sat a doll, its porcelain face cracked and its eyes wide and staring. The light seemed to emanate from the doll, casting long, eerie shadows across the room. As the group moved closer, they noticed something strange about the doll. Its eyes, once painted glass, seemed to follow them, and its mouth, which had been stitched into a delicate smile, was now twisted into a gaping, silent scream. Then they heard it, a soft, rhythmic creaking, like the sound of someone rocking back and forth in the chair. The shadows on the walls began to move, writhing and twisting as if they were alive. The light dimmed, plunging the room into near darkness. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind them, and the creaking grew louder, more frantic. The shadows closed in, their forms becoming more defined, hands reaching out, faces contorted in agony, and eyes filled with a terror that no words could describe. The teenagers screamed, pounding on the door, but it wouldn't budge. The shadows swarmed around them, the air growing colder and thicker, suffocating them with an invisible force. The last thing they saw before the darkness consumed them completely was the doll, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light, its mouth moving in silent laughter. The next morning, the house was quiet again. The light in the attic had gone out, and the door was still chained shut. But if you looked closely, you could see something new in the attic window. A faint, ghostly face staring out, its mouth twisted into a scream, and its eyes filled with a terror that would never fade. And at night, if you dared to walk by the house, you might hear the soft, rhythmic creaking of a chair rocking back and forth, and feel the eyes of the watcher following your every move, waiting for the next soul to step inside. Here's a bit of background check. Before my story as a kid, I used to be a scaredy cat. I wouldn't sleep in the dark or without my door open. But for as long as I can remember, I always remember each time my mom got sick, it will take her forever to get over the sickness, and she would always get really ill over. So she has a bad immune system. So one night, when I was around 7 or 8, I went to sleep, and I woke up in the middle of the night feeling uneasy and like someone was watching me. So I just brushed it off and thought I was tired and that my brain was playing tricks on me. So I went back to bed the next night. Same thing happened. I woke up with the same feeling, but this time my closet door was a little cracked open when I woke up. When I remember, I closed it before I went to sleep. So I ran to my mom's room, scared, and she told me maybe I didn't close it all the way and that it probably just opened a little because the doors were uneven or something. So I stayed with her for the rest of the night, and the next night she made me go in my room, and I woke up again in the middle of the night. But this time, when I woke up, I heard a sound from my closet. Then I realized it's just my toys saying their voice lines, but they didn't sound right. They sounded a little disordered. My first initial thought was maybe the toy batteries are almost dead, and that's why it sounds like that. But then I remember it only plays the voice lines if you press the button, but I didn't press it. So what could of it been? Of course, I was scared shitless. So I started crying till my mom came to my room and asked what was wrong. I told her something is making my toys talk. My mom calmed me down and brought me to her room and told me it was probably just a bad dream for the rest of the night. I stayed with her. I stayed with her for several nights after that night until my mom made me sleep in my own room again. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stayed up, waiting for something to happen, but nothing did until I was about to fall asleep, until I heard the terrifying creak of my closet door, opened my room, fell cold. I was sitting there, frozen in fear, staring at my closet, and what I saw next scarred me. For life, 2 sets of eyes looking back at me. I screamed louder than I ever did before. My mom came rushing to my room, asking what's wrong. I told her, still shivering, there's someone in my closet. I told her, so of course. My mom walked over to the closet and opened it. Of course the thing was gone. I slept in my mom's room for the next 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks, I thought it would be gone. I finally fell asleep in my own bed till I woke up to whispers, and they said she'll never find out about us. And then I started to hear everything in my closet start to shake like there was an earthquake. It was a loud sound of rumbling, then silence. Then my nightlight shut off, pitch blackness all around me, and then I heard it again, the terrifying creak of the closet door. I seen the eyes, they were moving closer to me, and closer I felt very cold, until I heard the relieving sound of my mom's door open. She came to check on me to make sure I wasn't awake again. Thankfully, she came in the room when she did, and because if she didn't, who knows what would have happened after she walked in. I remember my mom saying, "Why is it so cold in here? And why is your nightlight off? You never sleep with it off." I told her it turned it off because it wanted to hurt me after that night. I didn't go in my room again for a while, until my mom called the A priest and told him everything the priest explained to us, that what I was seeing was in fact a bad spirit-touched demon that wanted to possess me. A few days later, the priest came and blessed the house. After the priest did that, everything was fine, but something that really terrified me is that those few days before the priest came to my house, my mom seen it, till she said she woke up feeling freezing and not being able to breathe. And then she saw the same thing I saw hovering over her, trying to possess her, After that, my mom told me she felt really weak and tired, but I didn't start seeing again to a few years after the priest blessed our house. But these ghosts are different. They don't try to harm, they just watch.